I will just say, we've got a small amount of people within the group, so we don't mind if it's engaging. You just want to
Mm.
turn your mic on, ask questions throughout the process. That's not a problem. Accounts can be one of those things where there's lots of customization and different tools people are using, and sometimes there's barriers to think about. Well, we've got a really unique situation that potentially AI or some sort of automation won't be able to help. It's great to bring that to the surface and challenge us effectively, to see what we can do in that space. Yeah, we've been working with hundreds and hundreds of customers over the past 30 years, and even within our own business, we've got our own challenges, with different types of services and products we've been selling and on charging and all of that sort of stuff. So we've seen a bit, and we welcome any sort of complications or challenges that are unique to your business. So. In saying that, thanks very much for coming. Really appreciate it. We will be recording it, so if you do want a copy afterwards, we'll be able to send that out to you and go from there. So over to you, Dave. Thank you very much too.
Awesome. Yeah, very cool. So definitely, I want to encourage you and just invite you to look at the Teams chat and the Q&A. Definitely drop chat questions in at any given time. That probably is a better way to facilitate, I should say the best way to facilitate questions as I go, because if you know me, I'm naturally prone to jumping on a question and it would sidetrack me from actually talking about the main thing. So chuck the chats into your questions into the chat. At some point, we'll definitely circle back, and Cal will also be able to moderate those conversations as well. So let me share my screen.
That's good self-awareness, by the way, David. That's a good start.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Hey, Piggy. Hey, so look, I've got our presentation here. Let me know if you can see this.
Yep.
Yeah, awesome. Alrighty. Well, fantastic. Thank you again, everybody, for joining today. I hope this is a really informative discussion, and also I think this will be potentially one of many, or maybe the first time you've engaged. Everyone in the room is going to be different in terms of your understanding of AI, your understanding. Even within the group, we've got different roles represented here, from potentially CFOs, accounts administrators, potentially not even the finance people, but just have a finance function, like someone who runs an office or a department, but has to do invoicing or something like that, right? So we've got many different people in the room, hence why I can't say this is a AI for CFOs discussion. This is a bit more general, and 45 minutes or so. I've probably got a few extra minutes if it goes longer, but today I wanted to go over quickly sort of a little bit what's possible, how to identify use cases for finance as well, and to talk about that, and also a bit of Q&A. I also want to just preface this by saying, hey, look, I'm actually not a finance person, okay? So I'm like a technology person. I'm a builder. I'm a business leader. I, of course, appreciate finance. In fact, I want to shout out to all the finance people in the room, because you guys make businesses go around. You make sure that payroll happens. You make sure that people are looked after. You hold an incredibly important job. I wanted to preface this by saying, hey, look, I'm not pretending to be a finance person, and I've not done a degree in accounting. I don't pretend to know your world intimately. But what I do hope is to bring a different perspective on some of the potential challenges, just from my observations, right? I've run a company for 10 years now, been in a company for around 15. I've observed people in my finance department, how they operate, how they solve challenges. And I've seen how, even in the last couple of years, AI and automation has effectively brought a new paradigm to some of the roles, some of the functions. And I'm not talking about overnight, this is going to change your world, and tomorrow you're going to start operating 180 degrees on what you're doing today. No, but it potentially could, some of the ideas today hopefully could potentially provide some decent incremental improvement, potentially massive time saving in certain areas, and so forth. So why should you care about this? Of course, about AI in general, I think every business wants to grow, every business wants to be more efficient, and we all want to reduce risk. So then applying this to a finance company, a lot of us, and a lot of, I say us, a lot of us as business leaders, but a lot of us in finance, we obviously are looking after the numbers. You're very, very, very good with numbers. Sometimes presenting those numbers in a way could be where you want assistance. Sometimes simply dealing with mountains of spreadsheets, and how do you get your head around that? AI can potentially help with that. So produce efficiency. Potentially, and I'm using my own business as a use case here, where I'll demonstrate a couple of examples where we've saved 1, 2, 3 full days of effort, like quantifiable. We've actually saved the time for our team, 3 days a month or whatever it looks like. We effectively go after a problem and we create more efficiency. And risk, obviously financial, goes without saying, and I shouldn't go into that for just a time. I've got a lot of things to say about AI, and I'm just going to skip through this really quick, but I just wanted to give us a really, really brief background about what AI is, right? Generative AI has come by storm in the last couple of years. It can do many, many, many things. We've probably seen ChatGPT, which is on the left here, the sort of text part of it, but it can do code, it can do audio, images, and videos. And how does this apply to AI, to finance? Well, I'll sort of try my best to give us examples. AI can produce music, can produce photos. These like example photos where you've got a selfie of the Last Supper, or a Pope in a puffer coat, or a Trump in prison. You've got what's called multimodal, which means this is an example of a photograph of a parking sign, where you can see here it's Wednesday at 4 p.m. This is the user typing. Can I park here in the spot right now? Tell me in one line. And when my brain shuts down and can't figure this out, AI just says, yes, you can park here for 1 hour. So again, taking this example and going, okay, analyze this spreadsheet for me. What do you see? AI being able to interpret that spreadsheet, that balance sheet, that income statement, that invoice, that whatever sub here, whatever you sub in, AI is incredibly powerful at doing so. And we're going to talk about a lot of use cases today. One of the things we're probably not going to talk about, because it's probably more appropriate one-on-one, is like the security, the privacy. I'll try my best to sprinkle it in today, but it can't be a focus with only a 45-minute session. Summarization. AI is incredible at summarization. In fact, one of its biggest strengths is summarization. Imagine a 200-page report that comes out of your industry, and you're stuck trying to read it on a Friday, thinking, I want to go home at 5 o'clock. What if you just asked AI to summarize it for you in 5 bullet points, or 30 bullet points even, or ask you questions? What are the biggest takeaways? What are the risks presented here? What does this mean for me? So you kind of start to change your approach to consuming information to first potentially engage with the document as if you're talking to a person. AI gives us is just huge ROI, right? Well, it's got the potential to, I should say. Saving time. This example of transforming 4 hours to 15 minutes, reducing errors, cutting manual errors by 90%. And 90% is a very arbitrary number, but I think it's very much achievable. Freeing up staff for high value work, and of course, boosting company profits. Because as we can do things faster, smarter, of course, we are going to achieve those benefits. So what's possible with AI? And I think it's really, really exciting to think. I think we all in the back of our heads have ticked the box that AI is smart, and you're like, yeah, I kind of get that. AI is, it's awesome. But what's it going to do for me? Because it can create recipes, yeah, and that's really cool. And it can write emails, and that's really cool. But those are like little incremental benefits. I think those are kind of the quickest wins people can take. But I think the promise of AI is many things, but potentially in the finance world, faster decisions. As a CFO, you're juggling so many things, from the business's risk to all sorts of things, right? Not just financial, people management, presentations to the board, whatever it looks like. Accurate work. We want accuracy. And often AI and automation, you may or may not understand quite yet how on earth we can use it to create accurate work, but I can try and touch on that. Greater insights and less tedious work. I say no more, but probably less is the truth of it. what's possible. So Gen AI, so this generative AI, this ChatGPT, whatever it looks like, and ChatGPT is only one word, but I keep using that because it's the one that everyone will know. It's the language model, right? LLM stands for large language model. It's this AI that's been trained on the world's data. And you go, okay, it knows quote unquote everything. Well, a lot of the world, right? A lot of the world's knowledge. This AI, this amazing technology, which is absolutely revolutionizing the world, really, and we're kind of at the beginning of it. What does that look like when you use your world and generative AI, right? Your company's policies, your IP, your procedures, legislation, data, accountabilities, and brand tone of voice. So you kind of mix that in, you go, okay, my marketing team with their brand tone of voice and generative AI equals magic. I could create procedure documents because I can feed, or I can have Gen AI know my company's information, and it can create magic. There's so many possibilities in this, but I want to sort of use this as a bit of a framework to say, we're not just talking about using Gen AI when we work with businesses on, an AI strategy, or actually trying to make sense of this to work with their company to really produce magic in their organization. Finance being one of many departments, of course. This is kind of how I frame it, and this is how I think about it. So AI tools for finance. At this point, I want to start just going through a few things, and I'm going to start with ChatGPT, just because it is the really the first product that came to market in this space, and it is super solid. Like, it's a really, really good tool. We can sort of clutch at straws, so to speak. You can sort of go, maybe there's a delta incremental to use product A, B, C, or D. But at the end of the day, ChatGPT is actually a really, really good, well-running tool, and I wanted to start there, especially for today. And then I've got sort of three key things I want to talk about today, which is ChatGPT and just some potential use cases for that, including financial reports. I want to go through this idea of micro apps, and it's something that's really just a use case built, out of our own business that I want to show you, and then I want to go through a process automation that we've put together for again, starting like all businesses, right? You start off with one customer that's got a problem, and then you can replicate that, and we've done so. Every customer that we talk to about this seems to have an interest in this product. Hence why I put this together. We really want this to be a two-way dialogue, and also your feedback, because at the end of the day, what I'm not producing today is, here's my SaaS product, go buy it for $49 a month per user. What I am trying to tell you is that, hey, we're a builder, we're a solution provider. Tell us your problem, and there may be a solution off the shelf, but there actually may not be as well. And we want to actually build a solution for you, or start with education around stuff that you can do today, such as in ChatGPT. But there might be some things in your business which actually need tailor-made solutions. You can't just go buy it off the shelf, just like we couldn't buy it off the shelf on our side. So I want to just quickly just preface that. Hopefully it makes sense. So ChatGPT, super cool app. Obviously, I think I don't know if we've all used it or not, but I wanted to start here. There's a few things you may or may not know about ChatGPT. It's got something called a code interpreter built into it. So without even really trying, you can give it information and ask it questions, right? What does this mean? So I've got this example finance information. It's not really company finance. It's kind of more, I'm just going to drop it in here, all right? Finance data.csv. And of course, you might be asking, how do we do this securely? And there's a couple of things that I'll talk to you about that, but let's just assume right now that this is what I'm doing is secure, right? So this is finance data dropped into ChatGPT. I don't know if you've actually done this before, but if you haven't, I'd love to sort of have you email me, or let's have a quick call after this, or even in our Q&A, we can have a chat. How do we do this securely? I've got a couple of ideas. I can just ask it, right? What is this? You just tell me, right? And you can straight away see that ChatGPT actually pulls that CSV, and it actually displays it in line in its in its own application. They've written it really, really well, and they've updated this, right, since earlier versions. So now they're actually able to display CSV information inside. And this is, of course, more of like an investment document. I've just literally pulled this off the internet, just so I've got some demo data to play with. But of course, sub out gender for customer name, sub out age for anything, age data reports, anything you can imagine that's got CSV data. This principle is what I'm trying to come across. Okay, so it's great. Also, we can understand what this is, right? So I can just ask it things like this: make a recommendation, make me 5 recommendations on what I can do with this data. My boss has asked for a report ASAP. Okay, imagine you're sitting there and you're trying to prepare for some sort of a meeting, or you're trying to pull together some insights. Well, let's start with these kind of things, right? Investment preference. Okay, great. I'll say, can you visualize? Number 2. You can actually ask it these things, and under the hood, when you see this saying analyzing, it's actually writing Python code in real time. And this is what, I guess, what's mind-blowing, right? For me, this is actually doing 2 things, or 4 things actually at the same time. Number 1, it's knowing what I'm trying to say. Number 2, it's got the data. Number 3, it's acting like an analyst. It's actually drafting Python in real time, right? So let's say you've been writing or relying on someone else to write your VB scripts over the last 5 or 10 years. And that process costs X dollars an hour, or it's taken you X, Y, Z, or it takes you this long to turn it around, or every time you, whatever. You can see kind of how AI is just absolutely flipping that conversation and just going, it's literally writing the Python for you in real time, becoming this financial analyst partner. It's like I think Microsoft did name their product quite well, Copilot. It is like a Copilot. This becoming, it's not named Copilot, but it's kind of like that. It's this, I've got some data. I need help analyzing it. Can you just, yeah, great. I've just got this visualization. And if I say, can you now visualize number 1? You literally can have a conversation back and forth as if you're talking to a friend or a colleague or an employee, right? So that's really cool, and that's a great starting point. I would encourage you to start thinking about this, I guess. But coming back to this whole data analysis thing, oh, look at this! It's actually given us what do you call it? This kind of plot graph, which is really interesting, right? This is kind of cool, and you go, great, but help me do this inside my CSV itself. What do I do? So again, most of us spend a lot of time in Excel. We probably know our way around, but sometimes we're also just trying to figure it out at the same time. We may not actually know what exactly to do. Whereas I love asking ChatGPT about Excel. It literally knows, do this, do this, do this, drag this, do this. And I'm not going to do it for sake of time, but is there any really useful formulas I could use? Have you ever used ChatGPT for formulas? Incredibly powerful. All it needs is the header rows, actually. So all I could do, let's just do this again. I'm going to go into my spreadsheet, which you can't see because I'm sharing. I'm literally just going to copy like this. Just literally copy the header rows in plain. So this is one way of us doing things privately, right? You might have a spreadsheet which has 14 columns. You don't actually want to update all that data into Excel, into ChatGPT. You can just copy the headers and say, hey, these are my headers. Tell me some things I can do with this, right? And it's going to go, okay, do a counter, do this, try this, try this. And I would say it's going to give you ideas you might not have even thought of. It's going to think of things, oh, that's a really useful VLOOKUP. Great, I'm going to try this. And wow, I actually probably wouldn't have thought of it myself, to be honest, and it's a really, really useful thing. I'm use from now on. Imagine you got junior people in your team that have, they're using Excel, but they're not really at the level of doing VLOOKUPs. Well, now they've got this Einstein friend called ChatGPT that can help them, right, get up to speed. So not only is this giving us new information, this is a recommender. This is a product that's helping us do things that we may not have even thought of, or things we did think of. It's just way faster, because now I can say, because imagine if you're on the other side, you say, I want to achieve this, 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 and this. Tell me to do it. And it drafts you all the Excel formulas right there and there for you. Super quick. This is an example of, I reckon I could save at least half an hour or an hour per day just having this kind of, this kind of conversation with AI about my data. And because I'm just copying the header rows, there's no data privacy concerns. The other thing, of course, is what you could do is take your entire data set and remove any PII, remove any names or customer information, or just replace the entire customer name by like customer ABC. Then I think you can be a bit more a bit more sort of peace of mind that you dump a spreadsheet like that into ChatGPT, and you're just giving it numbers at this point. It's just numbers. It's not, you're not putting your customer name in there or your personal business name. It's just numbers. And I think again that will make I think that's a better choice. Let's move on to one extra thing, which is like, okay, I wanted to create a presentation on this. Help me present these numbers to my team in a PowerPoint. So again, we're spending no time at all. I spend all of 5 minutes doing this. There's a really, really cool tool which I love to use. It's called Gamma. It's a really wonderful presentation tool, and I just want to quickly touch on it and then move on to the next demo. Once again, AI is going away, crunching a bunch of numbers, right? It's literally writing title slides, investment analysis. It's just doing so much for me. So imagine if I was supposed to be presenting our quarterly summary to the team or something, and I'm banging away for 2, 3, 4, 5 days doing some things. Think about how you could potentially use AI. Oh, it's actually, you know what? This is actually quite awesome. It's actually created a presentation for me, which I did not expect, to be honest. And this is the funny and awesome thing about ChatGPT, is they seem to bring out new features every other day, and where you expected one thing, they actually now can deliver the entire presentation, which is cool. Can you type this out? I just wanted to literally just type it out for me. So so this is really cool, right? So we're now getting an investment analysis across our data. And of course, I'm not advocating to switch off our brains at this point. We're running our own business data, and we're carrying the risk, right? If I present incorrectly, it's on me. But damn, this is typing way faster than I can. And I could have probably typed that, proceeding like this is my data. But I did that in all of 3 seconds, and I'm really happy that I'll just say, can you add more detail? Again, as a business, we're all flat tacked, so I'm not mad about using ChatGPT that can type 8,000 words a minute when I'm only typing 60 or 80 at best. This is a really, really awesome, right? Because I'm sitting here going, yep, I agree with that. I agree with that. No, I don't agree with that. I'm going to adjust that. Or, wow, that actually, yes, this is a really good action that I probably would have said it a different way, but this is actually saying it better than I would have. So this is where we're taking data. We're using ChatGPT as a data analyst, and you see how I'm engaging with the AI here at this point, as if it was a recommender, as if it was an analyst for me. What I'm going to do now is just copy all of that, come across to Gamma. Gamma is a tool that helps us to create presentations. All I'm going to do now is make this visual, paste in text, literally just paste it, not even going to change anything. What I'm going to do here, though, is there's sort of 2 or 3 options. Over here, we've got this generate, condense, or preserve. Because let's pretend like I've washed this and I've actually finalized it. I don't actually want AI to generate new things out of this. I want it to preserve what I've written. All I'm asking it to do is present what I've made. And so I'm going to pick a theme, this nice blue theme, and click generate. And again, let's pretend like we've actually spent a little more time than this on it, but still, this is drastically faster than me doing it myself, right? It's undoubtable. So what we've got now is we've got AI drafting what we had written into a presentation. So now that my team tomorrow can understand it with some nice visuals and graphs, and it makes me look really, really, really good. Because they've got this fancy graphs now, they look pictures and whatever. And if I wanted to change this photo, I literally just come over here, go edit, and I can readjust the prompt. I can say a bear holding a balloon with a red hat. I don't know if this is going to work, to be honest, but let's just try it. You can literally type any prompt at all. And oh, here we go. Happy days. Let's enter that. This is like way better for me when it comes to monitoring the frequency of investment success. So you can see what, just the power, right? When on earth could we have done that kind of thing before? And if you don't like the photos, by the way, you just keep regenerating again and again and again, change the prompt, make it better. You can see very quickly that I can adjust this wording, just make it changed. Just because it's generated, it doesn't mean it's fixed in stone. I can now adjust the presentation around. So I'm going to move on from this. Hopefully that was a helpful workflow to think. I've taken an example Excel spreadsheet. I've done some analysis. I've gone back and forth. Now I've got it presentation ready. And in theory, I've probably saved 90% of my time to achieve that and give myself a wonderful framework, which I can now use month on month, quarter on quarter, year on year, and you think about that compounded across that whole business is quite significant, especially if you're presenting, technical information to non-technical people, financial information to non-financial people. Like this, imagine if you said, "Hey, look, I'm a CFO, but my team, my ELT is they don't know these numbers. Help me explain this to a team of people that don't understand accounting." It can literally reword the entire thing, taking technical jargon out of it, so that you can present to your audience. I don't know your scenario, but I'm trying to hopefully help you think through a few examples. So we've gone through ChatGPT, some data in. I've shared like dumping of the whole data in. I've shared just the headings, and we've talked about that with Excel formulas and so forth. We've created some visuals, and we've now just created a presentation. Just one other thing as well. There's this thing called prompt engineering and prompt libraries. I generally have not spent any time looking for them, but I just stumbled across this one. This is just an interesting page for accounting. Just that gives you these little prompts like financial forecasting. So prompt is analyze historical revenue data and predict next quarter's revenue based on current market trends. You may not have thought to ask that question, but this list is literally 30 different questions which you could use to prompt yourself to think, maybe I could use that. Imagine uploading a list of bank statements or something and going, identify suspicious transactions. Like, imagine what it would say. Could you save or find 50 grand worth of stuff? Maybe. I don't know. Your business, maybe not. Hey, I'm interested in trying. So these kind of using AI in this world is I hope creates us to be a bit more what's the word? Inquisitive about what's possible. Because if we can ask AI to analyze these things, all I've done here is shown you 30 different prompts, which might get your own mind going. Hopefully that's been helpful as well. I'll send that through.
Nice.
Yeah, great, man. Yeah, thanks, Cal. Hey, look, next thing I wanted to show is this idea of micro apps. And I need to reshare my screen for this to work. So I'm just going to quickly unshare and reshare. So give me just 1 second for this. So what do I mean by micro apps? What I mean is, I said before, so like the current paradigm, right, for most of us, and to be honest, me included before Gen AI came out, is I've got this problem. Okay, awesome. I've got a few ways to solve that problem. But the most logical is to like Google something and try and find a solution that may exist on the internet, and I can pay for it monthly. And that's great, right? And that's how we run our businesses. We have these big softwares, Xero for our accounting, or QuickBooks or something, MyOp. We've got this like ERP system. We got document management systems. We've got SharePoint. We've got all these tools, right? We've got like potentially tens of SaaS products, software products that do things. But like the scenario for us was my accounts person had to do invoicing, and in that to do invoicing, the end result, if I was to sort of try and draw this, the end result was over here was bill in Xero, right? But the start of the process was over here, where she had to go log in to 3 different supplier websites, right? And then analyze 80 different CSV files, right? First, and then manually bill in Xero. Now, potentially, I say potentially, I don't know. Potentially there is a software on the shelf that could perfectly do that for us. And if there was, I couldn't find it. Or if there was, it was not at the price point that I was willing to pay. All the time to set it up, right? I was talking about a relatively simple process for our business that was taking our accounts department 3 full days every single month to run. So what did I do? On the right-hand side, you might see this little VoIP billing management, and we're IT guys, right? So we build VoIP. What I've done here is created a demo. So don't worry, there's no customer names or anything. Any customer name you do see is not a real customer, I can show you. Bank West and Basket Case, these are not customers. They're just examples, okay? What I've done is I've created an example version of our actual tool. This is a tool that we've made internally. I've made it with the help of our finance team. And the idea is we go process invoices. And in the back end, all I've got is a simple CSV. I can even show you. It's a simple CSV, literally right there. So that right there, Jan 2025, is this one right here. I'll open that up. You can see it's a big ass spreadsheet. It's just rows and rows and rows of information that it's like thousands of rows, and it's loads of columns, and every single month, every single one of those spreadsheets had to be analyzed 80 times. And you have to go, or maybe not 80 times, maybe, not 80 times exactly, but that spreadsheet had to produce 80 different records, well, multiple spreadsheets actually. This was a time-consuming process for her. Took literally 3 full days. Not only that, it's the busiest time of the month, right? It's the first of the month, second of the month, 29th, whatever. It's around that time. It's stressful. We don't need extra work at that time. Life is not always a straight line. Sometimes we get sick. Sometimes things cause delays, whatever. This example was me taking our CSV file. Now all she does is go log into 3 supplier websites, drop, put CSV in folder, click button. There we go. Okay, so I'll be able to demo this in real time because I've created a fake. If you guys use Xero, you'll probably know that there's a demo company. So we've got this demo company up here, and you can see 2 drafts invoices in there. And really, at this point, you sort of hope and pray, cross your fingers and toes for me that my demo works, because this is just a demo at the end of the day. And if it doesn't work, that's fine. I'll prove it later. But like, let's say, again, what I'm trying to achieve here, I'm not trying to show you my software that you can go and buy, right? I'm trying to show you the fact that I've thought about a process problem in our company, and the traditional approach was to maybe keep doing it manually, throw more people at the problem, maybe try and find efficiencies with VB scripts or whatever. Even that could take a long time. Try and find a solution online. Probably can't find one. The first solution is, okay, how can AI and automation help me with this? And this is where I've landed up, is building my own software using AI to help me along the journey. And I'm relatively technical. Well, I am very technical. So I got some help that helps that I'm technical and we are a technical organization. But I want to share this example, right? So basically, number one is taking this messy spreadsheet and turning it into a relatively simple and beautiful list, right? Company, description of what the invoice line will be. It's literally tallied all that up and perfectly told me exactly what it will be. It's already pre-calculated all the core charges, free GST, any discounts when apply, net, etc. Total this month. I've even added like little things like this month and last month. I can toggle between the months. I've got two spreadsheets as you saw in that folder. And in real time, literally this is just a display in real time of my spreadsheets. Pretty basic. I mean, we're skipping companies, right? Let's just test something. If I click process, I scroll on down, process invoice, and see, create invoice, boom, done. Number 86, let's go over here, refresh. Let's see if it's there. Happy days, my demo worked. Basket case, created invoice with the right call charging, the right pricing, whatever, amounts, etc. Now all I do is go select all, untick basket case. Let's do all of it. And you can see how without, okay, I see one click, maybe 3 clicks. Now I go get coffee. Actually, by the time I've entered my door, I mean, this takes 1 second per invoice, right? So maybe it's not too long if it's 10. But what if it's 10,000? I've now got a full audit trail of everything that's done. I refresh my screen over here, and happy days. All the invoices are done. And I tell you, in real time, when I did that for my accounts person, she just watched 3 days of her life be brought back to her, and she could not believe her eyes. And I just want to kind of encourage you, like, don't get too fixated on my specific process. All I've done, if you think about the building blocks, is raw data, CSV, to create something so that you've got the ability to go plus or go. And of course, it goes without saying that in amongst this process, I've got checks and balances. I'm doing analysis, etc. But you know what's beneficial to me? Well, I just went, okay, great. We've just invoiced this revenue. That's a great start. But actually, now I want some data as well. So now I've just gone, okay, what can we get out of that data? In the same application, not having to go out to CSV again and try and work out all the pivot tables and blah, blah, blah. We've actually got the ability to display information. What if I, again, most people go, oh, where's Power BI? And that's fine. Power BI is amazing. Don't get me wrong. But there's like so many technical hurdles to getting those things going. There's time. There's potentially weeks of time. What if it was down to hours of time or a couple of days? I don't know. I'm just asking. And your use case maybe different, but at the end of the day, I'm trying to say, what are the things you really, really want? Because what if you could just create what if we as a business could help you create something like this, where you're processing invoices and at the same time analyzing them? It's your own custom application. It's not written by Microsoft. It's not, it could even run on your own servers locally or your own computer locally. Got revenue analysis, trends, month-on-month trends, kind of whatever you can dream up. I'm just looking through here just as examples, but and that's kind of it for that particular demo. I'm really happy that it worked. I mean, I knew it was going to work, to be honest, but you never know. You never know. We're live. We are live. I'll go ahead and delete those invoices now because they are just demos after all. But this is just delete. And of course, I'm creating with drafts, right? I do expect those drafts to be watched or looked at by somebody, marked as sent or sent at the end of the day, until we've got 100% confidence that it will be like perfect. And then literally I could adjust the setting in the back end and draft, send to customer, 1 button, walk away, coffee. 3 days work becomes 3 minutes of work. What do we do with that time now? Great, this is probably a never-ending list of things to do, to be honest. And the last thing I wanted to share, which I think is probably the one thing Kellen wanted me to share today, is this tool. But I'm hoping I'm giving you other insights and value today. For a customer, we what's the customer, and they're happy us to sharing this. We built out a tool, right? The use case was over here. The use case was we have 3 people in our team. Processing invoices is really tough. Processing purchase orders is really tough. We have a process right now where it's mapped on paper, and it's like check this thing, but if this, then do this, if this, then do this, and if this, then do this. And it's this huge decision tree of how to process a single purchase order, right? Is the company on stop credit? If they're not, then you should ignore the PO and email them. If they are on stop credit, if they're not on stop credit, then carry on. Double check that they've got no quote in the system. If they do have a quote in the system, you're going to match the PO pricing to that. And if it's not right, then do this. But if it is right, then carry on. And if, etc. You know what I'm trying to say. So imagine if AI could take care of all of that decision making. What if AI could handle the extraction of the PDF, all the decision making and double checking? And then what we ended up doing was doing something like this, where we said, okay, I could technically, and I mean technically speaking, I could take a purchase order from an inbox and put it into Xero or put it into any system that's got an API automatically. But I said, I don't really want to be liable for that order going to the wrong country or the wrong address because AI got it wrong once, right? So what if we do something where we have what's called human in the loop? And we came up with this idea together, which has actually been quite favorable. And it's like, okay, I've got this PO, right? It's going to Upper Hutt, Park Street. But sometimes on POs, you'd know this, there's actually two addresses on there. Like there's Wellington Mail Centre. Like, what if the AI thought that was the address? What if it got it wrong? What if there was two addresses here and it was like, oh yeah, this is our address, but please send it to us. We want to drop ship it to another address. What does the AI do? How does the AI get it? What if it got it wrong once? Sometimes in this example, I can maybe use a different example. Sometimes the purchase orders like this, product code and vendor product code. Which code did the AI choose when they're different? What if they like in this case they're the same? But you would know that sometimes a supplier has their own codes and the customer has their own codes. So how does the AI choose? Especially when every single PO has different information, product code, vendor code, right? That's this one. But what about this example is product code as well? But yeah, you've probably seen hundreds of different examples, right? Code, item. In this example, code is that, item is that. Which one does the AI choose? So having a human in the loop is actually really, really, really important, especially with variables, especially when you've got potentially 100 or 200 or 300 different invoice templates which change all the time. Maybe, yes, you could sit there training an AI on the exact PO if you only had 10 or 20 different PO invoice vendors. That's probably easy. But what if you wanted to just have it fully autonomous? Then you're going to need a human in the loop, where we're extracting all the data into fields like this on the right-hand side. So this is extracted from somewhere, from there. This is extracted. This is extracted. This is all extracted text. And I'd say in this example perfectly. If the human goes, I like that on the left, I'm opening of this looks perfect, approve, done. This on the left here becomes a queue. And when I refresh my screen, it will go from 4 to 5 to 6 to 7 to 8 to 9. And then I'm just going approve, 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 approve all day. And effectively, it's like my queue system, right? When I click approve, it goes off and it's done. So, and this is a demo, so it's not actually approved, don't worry. But like that, in theory, is now in Xero. It's now at the warehouse. It's now, whatever, dispatched. And in the back end, because we built the system, we can fully customize your process. And I want to really quickly just show you one more thing about process that might be really helpful to you. This is where we're going to use two different technologies, okay? Two different apps, ChatGPT and a tool called Whimsical. So let's go. Help me write a process to process my purchase orders. I take a PO from a customer, an email. I want it to be checked for customer stop credit. Does it match the quote? If yes, do we have it in stock? If yes, order. If no, goes to back, I don't know, email the customer. If ordered, send to the warehouse, whatever. What am I missing? Okay, I'm asking AI now to help me, right? It says you're off to a good start. Here's some more detail that you probably didn't think of. Okay, firstly, this is amazing for writing a process, right? So if you're sitting there and you're invoicing and you're like trying to train a new staff who's starting on Monday, and you're like staring at the long list of things to do, and you're like, I just want to teach them this thing. How about you use ChatGPT to help you, right? Brain dump like I've just done. And then wonderful how it's just given me beautiful headings, italics, bold. Now the cool thing is, let's take this, and there's a little hack which goes, write me this in mermaid.js or mermaid code. There's a framework called Mermaid, and this is a well-written and well-understood framework. And it's really, really quite cool. And let's pretend like this process I've just mapped is accurate, right? I can now go copy, come into Whimsical, and literally just go paste. And happy days, we now have a visual of our process. And yes, I could move this around. I can start editing it. But again, how much time have I just saved? Because I can now literally just go, hey guys, here's the process, print it out on a piece of paper or on a PDF, upload it to my SharePoint or whatever, email it around, make it pretty. But did that not just save time? I think it did. I think if I was doing that job, I would have now just what I used to think as a whole afternoon's worth of work is now, okay, that took me all of 18 seconds. Better think of something else to do. So again, I wanted to show you that really, really good hack. Use AI to think about process, write it down, ask it to convert it to Mermaid, paste it into a tool like Whimsical, which is a free tool, and you've got the start of an amazing process, which then you can send to us and say, automate this process for me. Thank you. And that's how we can work collaboratively on that. And on that note, that's exactly roughly what I did with this customer. We sat there in a room for 3 hours, mapped out this entire process, got it visual. So we talked about it first, got it really clear written, made it visual. It was just boom, mind blown. I used to have to pay a BA 3 days to do that, right? Or whatever. Then you go, okay, what parts should we automate and should we not automate? We should not automate customer comms. We should not automate this, but we should automate these 8 steps. And if this is the case, we're going to get our customer service team to contact them. And that's how we ended up with human in the loop on the left, on the right. And I guess this is the last thing I would say about this is we built this in a way that we could basically ingest any type of PDF, right? I've built it for POs in this case, but why not for invoices the same? And I know there's a couple of softwares out there, some of you may already do this. Invoice ingestion, bills, anything at all, even non-financial documents you could put in there. If it's just taking PDF extraction into something, that same flow could be applied to anything. And I'm really mindful that we've just gone over time. So I guess what I'm going to do now is throw it to the room for any questions. I want to say, hey, thanks so much for attending. I've really tried to keep this succinct. I probably, given a bit more time, I'd love to share more things with you. But I don't want to go over time. I really, here's one more thing I'll leave you with, which is, with AI's promise, there's so much we can do. Here's a good little framework to potentially work to, which is that we have this value chain and this effort chain, right? So as a builder like us, you probably heard the saying, anything's possible with enough money, right? Okay, yeah, so I want the biggest mansion in Queenstown. Cool, it's going to cost you 20 million to build it. Happy day, someone who's got enough money will pay for it. If you want something automated or some AI system, the question is, what is the value and what's the effort? And we want to start thinking about this, and I've put in 4 quadrants here. Because the things that are on this end, it's like an inverse scale. So on the side, it's low effort and higher value, right? So the things that are very low effort, or I say relatively speaking, low effort, as in it might be turned around in a day or 3 days or a week, relatively speaking. they're probably no-brainers, right? Especially if they're high value. In other words, if you said to me, this task would save me 5 days a month, and I figured out that's only going to cost me $5,000 to build, or whatever the number is, right? I'm just throwing a number there. You might say, that's an absolute no-brainer. Let's do it, sign it off tomorrow. Let's start. There could be one example of that you can think of, or even more. The things that are like low-hanging fruit are the little value adds, and they may be stuff that I've shared today. You might go away today using ChatGPT for things you never thought of. That's low-hanging fruit. There's actually no effort at all. It's just start and you're going to get value. Great. But the value might just be like 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there, which, to be fair, is still amazing. But then there might be like a big bet for your organization. It could be for you and the finance team. It could be, for your company, you might have a colleague and you want to share this information with them and say, actually, as a company, we could probably use AI for this feature. And it's probably going to be a lot of work because it's on the hard side of the scale, right? It's going to be really hard, but the value to our organization is going to be absolutely game changing. So we call that like a big bet. And anything that's really hard and really not going to add much value, like we're going to save 30 minutes a month for one person, but it costs 10 grand to do it. You might say, oh, good idea, but we'll probably put that in the backlog for now. Hopefully that's been a helpful framework. And I've said this 3 times already, but I'm going to say it for the final time. I'm going to stop sharing, and that way I don't talk any longer. I just want to say again, thanks everybody for talking. I appreciate you all staying too. I've noticed that you're staying, even though it's been a bit longer. I've been going over 8 minutes. But is there any questions from today that you wanted to talk about? Really happy to spend a few minutes chatting. Otherwise, you're more than welcome to drop off at this point or stick around, chat, jump your camera on if you want to, or even just your microphone.